All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so I'm back in this book, man. I've been going through this book like crazy, man. All right, population control by Gmo'S, man, which talks about all the ways Esau Edom goes about to depopulate this earth, man. All right, it goes into the chemtrails. All right, the water supply, the food supply, all being poisoned. And as you see right here on screen, chapter 12, Gmo'S, man. So there's many ways, man, all right, that Esau Edom goes about to depopulate this earth. Now, why are they depopulating this earth? Because the elite banking families have an agenda to bring forth a new world order. And part of that new world order is to depopulate the masses, all right? Because the less people there are, all right, the easier it is to control them. That's what these world wars were about, all right? To kill off millions and millions and millions of people, man. All right? So let's get into it, man. This is chapter 12. All right, you're going to see how much of a devil this man is, man. All right, and if you've been watching all my videos on this book, you know, watching all the lessons I've done on this book, man, you can see, man. All right? So let's get into it, man. All right, chapter 12, Gmo'S. All right, it says, as if chemicals, pollution, pesticides, and poisons weren't dangerous enough, the past 2 decades have also seen the emergence of genetically modified organisms. Today, the subject of a growing controversy. All right, let me zoom in real quick. Let me zoom in a little more. All right. It says Gmo'S which now appear in up to 80% of processed foods. Whew. All right, Gmo'S, which now appear in up to 80% of processed foods, are plants or animals whose cells have been inserted with a gene from an unrelated species, all right? And that's the devil Esau Edom is, all right? That goes against the scriptures, man. All right? You're not supposed to be mingling seeds, you know? Putting one mingling a seed from another plant and making and mingling with another seed and making a whole new plant. You're not supposed to do that with plants and vegetables, animals, all right? Splicing genes together, creating a whole new species, you know? All right? It says Gmo'S, which now appear in up to 80% of processed foods, are plants or animals whose cells have been inserted with a gene from an unrelated species. So they take genes from one species, all right, and they blend it with the genes of another species to create some new type of DNA, all right, in a fruit, a plant, all right, to give it a certain type of characteristic, all right, like we're getting ready to read, man. But let's read this one more time, all right? Gmo'S, which now appear in up to 80% of processed foods, are plants or animals whose cells have been inserted with a gene from an unrelated species, all right? Sometimes even a virus or bacterium in order to create a specific characteristic, often one that resists insects or blight. All right, so these foods, all right, are being injected with viruses and bacterium, like it says right here, to create a certain type of characteristic in that type of crop. All right, it says often one that resists insects or blights, and that, you know, and that reminds me, bro, if you go to the store and buy some fruits or vegetables and you leave it outside, even the ants and the bugs won't eat it, man. Because like it says right here, often one that resists insects or blight, because that's not a real fruit, and the animals and the insects can detect that, man. They know that's some genetically modified species that's not supposed to even exist. You know, the animals know what's natural and what's not natural. You know, how you create a food, how you purposely create a food that insects won't eat, man. Insects eat everything, man, especially like ants and all these bugs like flies and all right. It says GMOs, which now appear in up to 80% of processed food, are plants or animals whose cells have been inserted with a gene from an unrelated species, sometimes even a virus or bacterium, in order to create a specific characteristic, often one that resists insects or blight, man. All right. Although GMO heavy foods may have a longer shelf life, bringing in greater profits for the manufacturer, the health costs are deeply troubling. Yeah, because you're not eating real food. You're not eating what the Most High created, man. You're eating something that man created, man. All right, the scriptures say that the Lord has created all herbs bearing seed, man. All right, how can something grow, or how can something reproduce itself without having seed in it, man? All right, if something grows, all right, and whatever grows doesn't have seed on it, how is it able to reproduce without having seed, man? How can a plant or how can herbs reproduce themselves without having seeds, man? You know, because when a fruit withers away, all right, its seed starts to show, and then that seed drops back into the ground, and then it's a cycle, man. The life continues, man, because the seed drops back into the ground, and it grows, man. You know, it says although GMO heavy foods may have a longer shelf life, all right, bringing in greater profits for the manufacturer, the health costs are deeply troubling. And that's what it's all about. It's about money, man. All right, if you ever think these corporations are really about you, about your health, the whole point is to kill you off, man. That's part of the New World Order agenda, man. It says these experimental combinations of genes from different species do not occur in nature. That's right. Or traditional crossbreeding. All right, and that's, you're not supposed to be crossbreeding, man. All right. It says, and no genetically engineered animal has been approved for human consumption in the U.S. It says early in 2015, I'm right here. And it says early in 2015, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a law that mandated the labeling of food products containing GMOs. The new law was supported by Prime Minister Medvedev, who stated the government will not poison their citizens. Russia joined more than 64 countries worldwide, including 15 nations in the European Union, Japan, Australia, Brazil, and even China, that now require labeling of GMO foods. All right. That's why when American products reach European countries, there's a label on those American products letting you know that it contains poisonous ingredients, man. All right. There's this video I found online of a man from, I think it was a man or a woman, but I think they were from the UK. All right. And then when they go into stores that sell American goods, all right, on the back of the American goods, it has a warning label on it, man. All right, because of the poison that's in American food. That's why the American people are the most brain dead, the most zombified people on this earth, man. Have no idea that they're the greatest slave on earth, man. They have no idea what's going on. All right, that's why the main focus is here in Babylon, bro. The main focus is here in Babylon, man. Matter of fact, let me see if I could grab that real quick, because that's in Jeremiah. That's in the book of Jeremiah. Let's get that real quick. Let me flip through my pages real quick. The Lord said, go ye in the midst of her. Ooh, let's grab that real quick. All right. Let me see if I could find it real quick. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get Jeremiah. All right, let's get Jeremiah 51. All right, let's get Jeremiah 51. All right, Jeremiah 51, which is talking about the destruction of America, man. America being destroyed by nuclear fire. All right, so let's get matter of fact, as you see the title, all right, Babylon judged for the sins against Israel. All right, the true Israel, the Negro, Latino, and Native American man. All right, and Babylon being America, man. All right, so when you go down to the 45th verse, it says right here, my people, go ye out of the midst of her. Who's the her? All right, Babylon, America. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh. That's right. All right. The job of the prophets, all right, is to reel in the elect. All right, to save their souls from the fierce anger of the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. Because the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place, America. Literally eradicate it and erase it off the face of this earth by thermonuclear destruction. All right, in this third world war. And if you're not of the elect, if you're of the 2/3, you're going to drown in that nuclear fire with America, man. All right. So the main focus is here. The whole point is that the main focus is here in America, man. The Lord said, go out in the midst of her. Go out into the midst of Babylon, America, and deliver every man his soul, meaning every one of the elect, man. Our job is to reel in the elect. Okay? Let you know what's happening, all right? Tell you the truth, give you the true understanding of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's word, man. You know? That's how we reel in the elect, man. All right? Wake them up, bring them back into remembrance, man. All right? Like the scriptures say. All right? All right, so let's get back into this book, man. All right. Where was I at? Oh yeah, it says right here. All right, Russia joined more than 64 countries worldwide, including 15 nations in the European Union, Japan, Australia, Brazil, and even China that now require labeling of GMO foods. Many have placed restrictions or outright bans on the production and sale of GMOs. But in the US, money talks. All right? It says the federal government has regularly approved GMO products based on studies conducted by the same corporations that profit from their sales. All right? So of course those studies are bought and paid for, man. Those are false studies, obviously. All right. It says the federal government has regularly approved GMO products based on studies conducted by the same corporations that profit from their sales. So the same ones that profit from GMOs are the ones that are making these studies. And the federal government is going by these studies. Oh yeah, look, oh yeah. Of course they're gonna what's that word I'm looking for? You know, it's fake studies, man. All right, they're gonna manipulate the studies. That's the word I'm looking for. They're gonna manipulate the studies, man. All right, come on, man. It says, as the evidence against GMOs continue to pile up, it is becoming obvious that the federal government is incapable of providing adequate safety research for the public. All right, and of course not, because that's the whole point, bro. Come on, man. The whole point is to destroy you. All right? Come on, man. And the aim is at you Israelites, man. You Negroes, you Latinos, you Native Americans, man. Because the banking families, they know the prophecies, man. All right? That we're supposed to wake up in these last days. So they try all they can, man. All right? To stop these prophecies, man. All right, by making us zombified, man. All right, that because they know the prophecies that the Israelites, the tabernacle of David, is going to come back and wake up in these last days, be risen up again, man, to real and the elect, man. All right, and they know that Israel scattered, all right, and mingle with the nations, so they just going for everybody, man, because they know that even some people that look like Edomites or Hamites could be Israelites, man. All right, it says, apparently biotech lobbying is so pervasive that the government cannot even impose clear labeling standards. All right. In early 2015, all right, I'm right here. In early 2015, a book by Steven Drucker entitled Altered Genes, Twisted Truth. All right, which after I read this, I looked it up and I actually got it right here. Altered Genes, Twisted Truth. And I might go into that, man. All right. But anyway, it says in early 2015, a book by Steven Drucker entitled Altered Genes, Twisted Truth: How the Venture to Genetically Engineer Our Food Has Subverted Science, Corrupted Government, and Systematically Deceived the Public, was published to acclaim by scientists knowledgeable, all right, on the GMO issue. Drucker's work revealed how for more than 3 decades, hundreds of eminent biologists and revered institutions have systematically contorted the truth about GMO foods and concealed its unique risk. All right. It says, let's keep reading. It says, in the book's foreword, the famous award-winning English anthropologist Jane Goodall attacked the idea that genetically engineered foods are no different from natural crops and therefore safe. She noted how amazingly successful the biotech lobby has been, and the extent to which the general public and government decision makers have been hoodwinked by the clever and methodical, all right, twisting of facts and the propagation of many myths. Moreover, it appears that a number of respected scientific institutions, all right, as well as many eminent scientists, were complicit, all right, in this relentless spreading of information. All right. Goodall labeled the push for GMO foods the biggest scientific fraud of our age. All right. And added the key step in the commercialization of genetically engineered foods occurred through the unbelievable poor judgment, if not downright corruption, of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. It apparently ignored and covered up the concerns of its own scientists, and then violated a federal statute, all right, and its own regulations by permitting genetically engineered foods to be marketed without any testing whatsoever. All right. You see, because everything's bought and paid for and controlled by the elites, man. All right, the Food and Drug Administration, all these big corporations, man. All right, it says according to economist Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, who served as Assistant Secretary of Treasury in the Reagan administration, all right, Dick Cheney used his 2 terms as vice president to fill environmental agencies, including the FDA, with corporate-friendly executives. All right, Jeffrey M. Smith, executive director of the Institute for Responsible Technology, proclaimed, in the critical arena of food safety research, the biotech industry is without accountability, all right, standards, or peer review. They've got bad science down to a science. All right. It says, let's keep reading, let's go down. It says, despite growing public opposition for the use of GMOs, citizens in some states have been unable to pass legislation simply requiring the labeling of GMO products. All right, because the chemical and junk food industries have spent tens of millions of dollars to make sure Americans are kept in the dark. You see? All right? According to the Environmental Working Group, the Grocery Manufacturers Association, all right? Excuse me because that damn siren was going off. It says according to the Environmental Working Group, the Grocery Manufacturers Association, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Monsanto, along with the chemical firm DuPont, all right, DuPont being the one of the elite banking families, one of the wicked elite Illuminati banking families, man. All right, when you read Bloodlines of the Illuminati, all right, by Fritz Springmeier, all right, it goes into the 13 Illuminati satanic banking families, and the DuPont family is one of them. All right, everything's controlled by the bankers, man, to destroy the people. They have an agenda, man. All right, it says, according to the Environmental Working Group, the Grocery Manufacturers Association, Coca-Cola, Pepsi Company, Monsanto, along with the chemical firm DuPont and others, spent more than $27 million just in the first half of 2014 to lobby against GMO labeling. All right, it says, in spite of the money spent and narrow defeats at the polls, the movement to require GMO labeling continued to gain strength and momentum, with 14 states considering laws requiring such labels. In May 2014, Vermont became the first state to require GMO labels. The new law will take effect in mid-2016 if it survives legal challenges. Maine and Connecticut passes laws before Vermont, but those measures don't take effect unless neighboring states follow suit. All right, in 2014, California vote on Proposition 37, which would have required GMO labeling, was narrowly defeated, all right, due to an estimated $46 million spent to oppose the measure by food giants including Kellogg's, General Mills, PepsiCo, and Monsanto. In Oregon, a statewide vote on labeling, all right, Measure 92, came within 0.05% of 1% of winning. All right. It says Dr. David Bronner, all right, president of Dr. Bronner's Magic Soap. Okay. All right. Dr. David Bronner's president of Dr. Bronner's Magic Soaps, and a blogger, stated, the bottom line is the GMO labeling movement is on fire and surging. We are as likely to achieve victory through the market by 2016 as we are unleashing and fueling major cultural and market drivers, and expect more and more food companies to flip and accept mandatory labeling, all right, just as they did in Europe. All right, the federal government has also shown that it is able to override local opposition to GMOs. All right, Kauai County in Hawaii in late 2013 passed an ordinance requiring disclosure, all right, of some pesticide some pesticide use, as well as GMO crop cultivation, with some restriction on crops near schools and nursing homes. All right. But in August 2014, U.S. Magistrate Judge Barry Curran overturned the ordinance, saying it was preempted by other laws and thus invalid. All right. All right. Curran's action was viewed as a victory by seed and chemical companies in a because these judges are bought and paid for too. Come on, bro. It says Curran's action was viewed as a victory by seed and chemical companies in a battle over modern agriculture techniques. DuPont, all right, Syngenta AG, Dow Chemical, and BASF were among those who challenged the ordinance and jointly expressed pleasure with the ruling. All right, Gary Hooser, a Kauai council member co-introduced the ordinance, said the controversy is far from over. One opinion from one federal magistrate does not settle the issue, he said. The GMO controversy is a morass with well-meaning and passionate advocates on both sides. All right, bringing suspicion on the pro-GMO proponents is the view that most of them are in one way or another funded by very corporations that profit from gene modification, of course, man. So they gonna want to keep it going. All right, critics offer more emotional arguments pointing to a variety of complaints, whether real or imagined. All right, anecdotes of GMO. All right, yeah, anecdotes of GMO harm range from birth defects in Danish pigs fed GMO soy and dying sheep and goats. All right, in India. All right, yeah, right, in India. All right, in India, to soy allergies skyrocketing in the UK. All right, and the multiple horror stories of lab rats suffering from organ lesions, infertility, altered enzyme levels, and liver and pancreas problems. All right, books such as The World According to Monsanto, all right, and Seeds of Destruction, all right, paint the giant chemical corporations as mass murderers. All right, because that's exactly what that's the whole point, bro. That's the whole point. Come on, man. All right, they claim that since 1901, the firms have produced saccharin, all right, PBCs, BPA, BPS, glyphosates, fungicides, pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, Agent Orange, napalm, DDT, neotame, aspartame, chemical and petrochemical fertilizers, heavy metals, and GMOs, all of which have collectively killed more humans globally than all global terrorism combined over the past 2 millennia. All right? Come on, man. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. All right? That's Esau Edom's agenda for you. That's, bro, this is all under Esau Edom's rulership. His blessing was the sword, meaning to destroy and kill, man. That was his blessing, man, the sword, bro. So that's why he's able to do things like this. All right, it says the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, all right, an international group of physicians and associated professionals dedicated to the study of environmental illnesses, have reported several animal studies indicate serious health risks associated with genetically modified food. All right, these risks, all right, include infertility, immune system problems, accelerated aging. That's why motherfuckers be dying fast. That's, yo, in modern times, all right, the average lifespan is only 75 years, bro. Age 35 is middle age now, bro. Age 35 is middle age now, bro. You know? All right, it says these risks include infertility, immune system problems, accelerated aging, faulty insulin regulation, and changes in major organs or the gastrointestinal system. All right, the AAEM, all right, has asked doctors to advise patients to avoid GMO foods. All right, one noteworthy complaint against GMOs is that unlike drug safety evaluation, there have been no human trials on GMO foods. All right, the Institute for Responsible Technology, which was founded in 2003, is now active in 40 countries. All right, noted on its website, the only published human feeding experiment revealed that the genetic material inserted into GMO soy can transfer into the bacteria living inside our intestines and continue to function. All right. This means that long after we stop eating GMO foods with an antibiotic gene, all right, we may still have this gene inside us, bro. That's crazy. All right, creating antibiotic resistant super diseases, bro. Woo. That's why Esau Edom has to be taken down. This man is a complete devil. All right, this is all happening under Esau Edom's watch, underneath his rulership. That's how much of a devil this man is that he allows this, man. All right, it says if the gene that creates Bt toxin in GMO corn were to transfer, all right, it might turn our intestinal bacteria into living pesticide factories. Wow. All right. How much more am I gonna read? I'll read a little bit more. All right, and then that'll be the video. All right. It says one good illustration of the ongoing controversy over GMOs can be found in the story of a study conducted by Gillis Eric Seralini, all right, a professor of molecular biology at the University of Caen in France, all right, and the founder and president of the Scientific Advisory Board of the Committee of Research and Independent Information on Genetically Engineering, all right. He is also a member of the EU's Commission for Biotechnology Re-Evaluation, created in 2008. All right, hold on, it says, all right, it says in 2012, Seralini and colleagues published a paper entitled Long-Term Toxicity, all right, of a Roundup herbicide and a Roundup tolerant genetically modified maize, which is corn. All right, it says in the journal Food and Chemical Toxicology, all right, toxicology, all right. The research based on a 2-year study of Monsanto's genetically modified maize, all right, NK63, all right, engineered to be resistant to herbicide Roundup, all right, reported that mice who were fed the genetically modified corn had an increase in both body and liver weight. All right. For the first time in the world, we've proven that GMOs are neither sufficiently healthy nor proper to be commercialized. All right. Each time for all 3 GMOs, all right, the kidneys and liver, which are the main organs that react to a chemical food poisoning, had problems, proclaimed Seralini. All right. This study prompted rapid and vitriolic responses both in Europe and America. Despite support for Seralini's article in an open letter signed by 130 scientists, scholars, and activists published in Independent Science News, and from proponents of California's GMO labeling proposition, many mainstream organizations viciously attacked the paper. Of course, bro, of course. All right, how can you attack proof? All right, hey man. All right, it says the European Food Safety Authority accused the study of being inadequately designed, analyzed, and reported, and being of insufficient scientific quality for safety assessments. All right, but it was signed by 130 scientists. All right. All right. It says the study was accused of numerous issues relating to its design and methodology. All right. All right. Including using too small of a sample. All right. Of rats. Yet it was pointed out that it was the same as toxicity studies reported by Monsanto. One difference being that the Seralini research was conducted for more than 2 years, rather than the 90 days of Monsanto study, which affirmed GMO safety. All right, since Seralini's study criteria seems to have matched or exceeded at least one of the Monsanto's protocols, his results should be considered at least as valid as Monsanto's. All right. Of course, bro. Like, come on, man. All right. Critics say Seralini's findings prove that Monsanto's short-term safety studies are flawed. All right, due to the outcry of over Seralini's study, the editors of Food and Chemical Toxicology retracted his paper in 2013, despite Seralini's objection, and despite the fact that no charges of fraud or misinterpretation were lodged. All right. See how they be doing it? All right. It says in June 2014, the paper was republished in the journal Environmental Sciences Europe. All right. It says, but accusations that GMO safety has been left up, but accusations that GMO safety has been left up to same corporations that profit from gene modification continue to grow, as does public concern over long-term safety. This is why we got to get out of here, bro, because pretty soon all the food gonna be done. It pretty much is already. And that's, that's prophecy as well in the book of Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. All right, that the children of Israel shall eat their bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. That's why we eat corrupted food, man, defiled food, man, poisonous food, man. Because that was prophecy, Ezekiel the 4th chapter. That the food will be poisoned, man. We will eat nothing but garbage. All right. It says, meanwhile, in what some see as a bait and switch scheme, all right, some GMO companies are now using names such as biologics, natural identicals, and biologic identicals to mask the use of GMOs from the public. All right. So I'll leave it at that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Raptazad. This lesson was edifying, man. All right. You know what I mean? It's time to wake up, bro. And y'all should be knowing this, man. We live in the age of information, bro. This ain't, you shouldn't be oblivious to this, man. The food is straight poisoned out here. This is why you gotta try your best to eat good, man. If you got money to spend on organic food, then buy organic food, man. If there's one thing to spend money on, it's your health, man. It's your health. The scriptures say that let's get that real quick. Let's get it. The scriptures say good health is above infinite riches, man. Let's grab that real quick. A good state of body and mind. Let's see if I grab that real quick. Ecclesiasticus 30. All right. Good health is above infinite riches, man. All right. Yeah, it says right here, all right. The book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, all right, chapter 30, verse 15. It says, health and good state of body are above all gold, all right, and a strong body above infinite wealth, all right. Verse 16, there is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart, man. All right, death is better than a bitter life and continual sickness. And some people have continual sickness. They're in and out of the hospital. All right, their whole life. It's better to die, man. All right, because then you'll be at rest in the spirit world. All right, it says death is better than a bitter life and continual sickness, man. All right, it's better off to just die, man, than to be sick your entire life. That's why the above verses right here says there is no riches above a sound body, meaning a healthy body. That's the word. That's what the word sound means, a healthy body. All right. There is no riches above a sound body and no joy above the joy of the heart, of the mind. All right. Health and good, verse 15, health and good state of body are above all gold. And that's true. That's true, man. We're reading it, man, in the scriptures. All right. And a strong body above infinite wealth. All right. Scriptures also say bodily exercise profiteth little. the scriptures also say bodily exercise profiteth little. All right, but a righteous man profiteth all things, man. All right. So Lord willing, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Ratazad, this lesson was edifying, man. You know? All right. So it's on to the next one. Shalom, shalom.